but it stems from religion, where twice a week you balance your body. Instead of being, eating multiple times and a little bit unhealthy every day, you balance your body twice a week or one time as you do it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Peak Performance Life podcast. Real quick before we get into it, if you are a repeat listener, please do share, like, subscribe. We don't do any external ads, but we do want to spread the word and help reach the most amount of people to transform their health and transform their life. So really appreciate you. I think it takes less than a minute to just rate, review, subscribe, share it if you found the information valuable. So today I am very, very excited because we have Dr. Joseph Antoun, and we're going to be talking about in a topic that is a very, very hot topic. There's a lot of misinformation about this topic, and the topic is fasting. You've probably heard people talking about intermittent fasting. You've maybe heard people talking about going on 3 to 5 day fasts. You may have heard a lot of different information about what a fast actually entails, what can be included, what can't be included, different types of fasts. And so Dr. Joseph Antoun, he is really the premier expert in this category. His company's invested literally tens of millions of dollars into lots of these discoveries. They've done clinical trials. His company holds over 200 patents. So you can rest assured that today you're going to be getting the best information directly from the source. So Dr. Joseph, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Delor, and hopefully we're going to change somebody's life today.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what you guys have been up to, maybe start talking about maybe a little intro to the different types of fastings and yeah, all the stuff you guys are up to over there.
Yeah, so our company is called L-Nutra. L is for longevity, and then through nutrition. And what we study is what humans should eat to live healthy, long life, right? Shouldn't be a company mission. It should be every healthcare system mission and every educational mission. What we should eat to live healthy, long, and all of us want that journey. The problem is we're all confused about all the theories that we see in the market about one day eat this, one day eat that, one day a ketogenic is good, one day is ketogenic is bad, one day you should go on Atkins, etc. And so we were born some 13, 14 years ago out of University of Southern California, and you rarely see nutrition companies coming out of science-based universities, and now we have 18 universities that do the research with us. Wow. Our mission is to really apply, they call us the first Nutri-tech of the world, like biotech or pharma. We're the first tech company on nutrition. Basically, before we put any product in the market, we do mice trials and then human trials, randomized clinical trials behind food, the exact way you would develop a medicine. And this is what we're known for. So everything we're going to talk about today is going to be the fruits of 20 plus years, because USC started the trials before we were born. So 20 plus years of research on nutrition, and now we have the outcome of the clinical trials. Wow. Why we focus on fasting, and then how am I saying we're a nutrition company, we're focused on fasting. We're going to talk about that because we discovered the fasting mimicking nutrition. But fasting has been a cornerstone of our, if you want, science and discovery. And what we discovered is that when you fast, 3 to 5 days, and this is why we now do it with food, because it's difficult to fast 3 to 5 days on water. But what we discovered when we studied few hours of fast, 16 hours, the intermittent fasting, go longer, we started seeing a shift around day 2 in the body. Basically, intermittent fasting is any fast between 0 hours to 2 days. People think it's 16 or 18, but actually the definition goes all the way to 2 days. And why is that so? Because the first 2 days you have enough fat and you have enough reserve to compensate for the lack of calories. And you have 3 types of reserves in your body that the body goes to in the first 2 days. You have glycogen in different systems, including, the muscle. You have fat, that's your primary kind of, savings account that you can tap into. And then you have the liver that does something we call neoglucogenesis to bring more calories to the body. So you have kind of glycogen, your savings, your checking an account, you have fat, your savings account, and you have liver as your crediting agency. And for most people, the first 2 days, they have enough of those to kind of go by. And then when you cross second day is when the body tells the cells, hey, I mean, I'm not eating, I'm fasting, I'm depleting the reserves, we're in crisis mode, and therefore I want to ask you to go and eat the leftovers inside of the cell and go fix and optimize your performance. And this process called autophagy, self-eat and self-rejuvenate. And it comes only after a crisis of fasting, which is, a couple of days. It happens if you do like peak exercise. If you do a lot of intensive exercise, you can also create that crisis mode. And autophagy, by the way, won the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2016. So now it's a very much of proven, very important to science phenomenon. Is basically when you put your body in crisis, the body says, okay, I gotta optimize my performance to survive, right? And that is so important because when you rejuvenate your body and your cells, you're basically biologically getting younger, or you're slowing your biological age. You're cleaning, you're rejuvenating your body. And by slowing down aging, you're actually staying a little bit away from all the age-related diseases. 90% of us will die from Alzheimer's, that's an age-related disease, cardiovascular, age-related disease, cancer, age-related disease. So the way we approach fasting as a company was a longevity mission. We said, okay, if we can help you go to the cellular phase of fasting, you cross 2 to 3 days and you go all the way to 5 days, I'm helping you not only losing a lot of weight, which everyone loves, but I'm helping you rejuvenate your cells, which now takes fasting not just from a weight loss exercise, which is mostly the goal of intermittent fasting, but now to a cellular as well, rejuvenation exercise. And that's so important for your biological age. If you're 40 today or 50 and I can keep you at age 30 or age 40 biologically, you just gain 10 years of biological age. And that's the best thing you can do to your health today to prevent one of the 4 diseases that we just mentioned that come with older age and you're going to die of: diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular disease. So that's our approach. And when we discovered these major benefits of a prolonged fasting, or periodic fasting, we call it, it was so difficult for people, obviously, to fast on water, and it's risky, 3 to 5 days. And the National Institute of Health gave us millions of dollars to develop this fasting mimicking diet. Basically, how can you nourish the body while keeping the cells in a fasting mode? And everyone was like, wait a second, how is that even possible? We actually, and here it took over $48 million, just to let you know, and 20 years of research to get to. And we have the product today called Prolon, Prolon, which is the 5 days fasting mimicking diet. A lot of your audience probably are familiar with Prolon.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been really interested actually in it because, just to back up what you've been saying, autophagy is kind of like the holy grail in terms of anti-aging and cleansing, detoxing, whatever you want to call it, right? But again, I'll admit, years ago I did like that master cleanse thing, where I didn't eat for like 10 or 12 days or something, and I had the maple syrup and lemon and that kind of thing. But I'm not sure. I don't know what the science is on that. I think I just did it because a bunch of crazy people told me, and we did it back then. But other than that, in terms of just like a straight water, no eating, no food, just straight water, I try to do like a 1 day, like a Saturday night to Sunday night, dinner, eat Saturday night dinner, and then don't eat again till Sunday night or something like that. But really, especially myself too, I'm not really trying to lose weight. I'm actually trying to gain a little muscle, and I want to make sure I actually don't lose muscle as well. And also, it's just hard. Like the average person just isn't going to be able to complete a water fast for 3 to 5 days. And they've got to be, first of all, they've got to be, a very healthy eater leading up to that. They have to, and then you could have imbalances of electrolytes and minerals in your body. And people could have, I've heard of people having massive headaches, and sounds like a miserable experience to do a 3 to 5 day water fast. So what your company and what I think you're about to tell us about, which I'm really excited about, and I want to try it myself, is that you guys have created a fasting mimicking diet where people still can eat certain types of foods in small amounts and get the same, essentially the same benefits or close to it of this 5 day water fast. Is that right?
Yeah. And again, it took a lot of research. Every ingredient, we have 77 ingredients. It's all plant-based, all healthy, premium actually source of food: macadamia, walnut, very high-end food presented in terms of bars and soups, and you wouldn't know that you're on a specific diet, but it's only 5 days, so it's not even a diet. It's just a nutritional program for 5 days. It has 77 ingredients that we've tested over the years to nourish your body while not doing two things. So your body knows that you're eating through two processes. Number one is when you eat, carbs stimulate insulin. Insulin is a growth factor. It tells the body, it's like, hey, there are carbs, there are fuels, go grow, go replicate, we're not fasting. And the same way, when you eat proteins, IGF increase, insulin-like growth factors. So they're both insulin as a response to carbs and IGF as a response to protein. They're telling the body there's food. And then when they spike, the body at the endocrine level, meaning the systemic level, feels that there's food and goes off fasting. So when you eat the fasting mimicking diet, or Prolon is the name of the product, your insulin and insulin-like growth factor do not spike. So the formulation is specific. They barely increase and they stay steady. So the body's like, I got food, but not enough for me to kind of recognize it. And the other secret is when you go on a cellular level, the cells have three pathways to detect food: the PKA, the TOR, and the RAS pathways. And then our food does not trigger these three pathways enough for the cell to recognize the food. So basically you eat and you're eating 1,100 calories on day one and 800 calories on each other day. It's not a very low calorie. It's not like you're eating barely a lettuce and a tomato or maple syrup you mentioned. You're having your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, obviously low calories, but still formulated in a way to nourish you to the max while keeping your cells in a fasting mode. And you do it only for 5 days. If you want to, somebody like you don't want to lose weight, you just want to do it for autophagy, rejuvenation, and healthy longevity, you can only do it 3 times a year. And you don't need to. I always talk about the Formula One race or the NASCAR race or any race you do. You know, when you're racing and your engine is heated and you're using your wheels and it's like the body getting aging in an unhealthy way, the best thing you can do to this car is to take it to a pit stop. And this is where the mechanics come in. They change the wheel, they change the oil, and they check it. They put the system in a check, and then they fix it, and you can go back to the race, rejuvenated, and the car can last longer. That's exactly what autophagy through several days of fasting does to the body.
That's great. Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds a lot more doable. And I remember seeing this and I was like, oh, that's cool. Finally, something where you don't have to, suffer so much. And so I imagine people get much less side effects of like the headaches and the deficiencies and things that you would see from a 5-day water fast, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the consumers, and now we crossed over 1 million, use of it. And
Wow.
so I bucket them into 3 buckets if you want. You have the ones that we call they're metabolically flexible, meaning it's like the gym. If you go to the gym, even once a week, and you go next week, you're not going to feel any pain or because you're, or 2 to 3 times a week. So these people are metabolically flexible. They've played a little bit before with keto. Their body knows how to shift from consuming carbs to consuming ketones, and they go through it in a super easy way. Then you have the middle 33%. They're being like, okay, I've done once in my life was metabolic flexible, or have the right determination, and they go with it with moderate difficulty. And you have the folks that have never fasted before, never done any ketogenic before, or never, and they struggle through it. Now we have a completion rate when we do consumer, surveys. We have a completion rate on average of 91%, which is extremely high for any food to comply, because it's 5 days only. Right. And even the ones that find it very difficult, they're like, hey, there's a day 1 and there's a day 5, and I'll be done. So I always encourage
those people also need it the most, and they're probably the ones that are overweight because they're probably eating fried foods and lots of gluten, carbs, processed foods. And so for them, those are the people that need it the most and will probably see the most dramatic results too, right?
Yeah. So we have coaching support, and we try to get them, and they will have the headaches. So there was to answer your question, they will have a little bit more of the headaches. They will have a little bit more of, the hunger, strike at night. But again, we try to help them We're releasing our app soon, and we have a health coach system as well to help them, go through. It's actually day 2 and 3 where the transition happens. Day 4 and 5, most people feel like as if they're high, as if they're, because the cells are on autopilot, autophagy kicked in already, and they're rejuvenating. They feel super happy, positive, better sleep, etc. The difficult period is day 2 to day 3 when the body's saying, hey, I'm in crisis, I'm depleting my reserves, and I'm turning the cells on now, and I want to live on ketones for the next few days. And this is where the transition period where some hand holding is needed.
Yeah, makes sense. Would it be useful for people who might be in that category where, they're not eating healthy, maybe for, a couple weeks leading up to it, try to, eliminate or at least go a little lower carb or eliminate fried foods and gluten for a little while leading up to it?
It helps some. Honestly, again, it's 5 days and you're eating food. It's not as hard as water fasting. Most people, again, 91% will go through it. But yet some people do, before going into it, if it helps them, few days of eating healthy, especially at night, decreasing your addiction to late food, because otherwise we're busy during the day, and most people, the food, the Prolon has a breakfast and a lunch and a dinner. The dinner is going to be a small choco crisp and a soup, and you want to eat it like between 6 and 8 p.m. But then you don't want to eat anything after that. This is where I think it helps most people to a little bit de-addict them from snacking late at night. Entering into the diet would help a lot. And as you said, if you begin for a week or so before, if they're concerned with doing the fasting for the first time, they can train themselves into it. But most people, they just pick a Sunday or Monday and they just do it.
Very good. Very good. So this is kind of the main product that you guys offer, is this 5-day. Is this the one that really stimulates the most autophagy? Are there other things, like when people are talking about the intermittent fasting for 16 hours, are you guys encouraging that as well, or have different things for that? Or
yeah. So as we divided fasting, we said, above 2 days is the prolonged fast, that's autophagy and more weight loss. And this is where Prolon is, the 5 days. And as you know, most people doing fasting today, they're doing the 16 or 18 hours of fast. And some are like you, they're doing 1 day a week or twice a week. We call it the 1-6, meaning there are 7 days a week. You're doing 6 days no fast, 1 day fast, or 5-2, which is twice a week you fast. And the 5-2 is more prevalent in Europe because it's inspired by religion, actually. So we have the Christianity and Islam, actually, and even Judaism, but they had a couple of days a week, Wednesday for Virgin Mary and Friday for Good Friday in Christianity. And then I think the prophet fasted a Tuesday and a Thursday. I forgot the exact 2 days. But it stems from religion, where twice a week you balance your body. Instead of being, eating multiple times and a little bit unhealthy every day, you balance your body twice a week or 1 time as you do it. We have a product for that called the Prolon Reset, which is a 1-day fasting mimicking diet. Very, very popular product as well. A lot of people do it. It's easy to do it. Just 1 day, you get your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Same food concept as Prolon. This is why we call it Prolon Reset. And prolonreset.com is the site. You can go and you can try it once a week or twice a week, and it just balances out the other days, the lifestyle of the other days. A lot of people do this 16 or 18 hours of fast, and there's a lot of debate and discussion about whether that's the right fast or not. And people, when they do 16 hours, they skip breakfast to go all the way to lunch, and by doing that, the hope is that you lose weight because you're skipping 1 meal out of 3, which for some experts, they say that's good as long as you don't binge eat in the remaining 18 hours. And from other experts, they say, no, breakfast is an important meal of the day. Don't skip breakfast, just eat low calorie throughout the three periods. 10% of Americans actually practice certain type of intermittent fasting, and 90% of them, they do the 16 hours. Now, what we know is that if you're staying 16 hours with no food, you're doing it to lose weight, which is on the positive side. On the negative side, your brain is also, staying 16 hours with no food. Your heart, which has to beat every second, is also saying with no food. So some of the essential organs are also starving while they're sacrificing together so that you lose the weight. And this is why we launched the fast bar. The fast bar has been studied, randomized clinical trial again, and the data is published in the journal called Nutrients, if you want to read the science. And it's the only bar with a patent to mimic fasting. So you eat the bar in the morning, it gives you nutrients at very high premium, again, high end nuts, and has a little bit of honey and very high plant-based otherwise ingredients. And it basically, you eat it and your blood sugar stays equal to water fast. We have shown that in trials, and your ketones keep going up as if you were water fasting. So it's equal to water fast. Your body doesn't recognize the food. This is our science, but at least you're nourishing your essential organs in the morning. So we try to make fasting healthier and more compliant. You're still eating something in the morning. We're launching the fast drink soon, and you get something into your body in the morning to nourish it. If you want to exercise, you're going to work, you're a busy father or busy mother or student, or in the morning is when we are actually mobile. The muscle needs calories, is when your brain is thinking, and that makes fasting a little bit better to comply with and safer.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And I mean, I find for myself as well, when I'm trying to go lift heavy weights in the morning, if I'm doing that completely fasted for 16 hours, it's tough. It doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
And I like the idea. And by the way, I got one of your fast bars. I think I probably saw you guys at Expo West or one of these things. Yeah, I got a
Did you
sample
see
of the
the
fast
lines?
bar.
We had the longest lining ever.
Yeah,
Because it's delicious. I mean, you put macadamia nuts with honey. So macadamia actually is the most expensive thing you can buy from nature. It has the healthiest fat, very healthy plant-based fat, which is brain-like or ketone-like fat. It has low carb and plant-based source of protein. And but it tastes amazing. And you add the other premium ingredients. It's a super tasty bar. And it was our first time at Expo this year, and it was amazing how the appeal for the bar.
Yeah, it was really good. And yeah, I agree with you. I think macadamia is probably widely regarded as the healthiest nut, and the bars are good. The interesting part, what's interesting was, when I first saw it too, I think I asked the people at your booth, I was like, oh, wow, honey? Because most people would think like honey, because there's a little bit of sugar in the honey, that's gonna surely that you can't be fasting if you're eating something with honey, people would think, right?
Yeah, but this is what took us, again, the years of studies and research. So you have billions of cells. You divide the quantity of honey, which we tested, and and we have a couple of secrets on what you mix honey with and what time of the day and the absorption, and we slow that and all of that. So we have a couple of secrets with the formulation. But think about it, a tiny little bit of honey, divide that by billions of cells that you have. None of your cells is satisfied enough but they're all happy to receive some calories to operate and to rejuvenate. Yeah, that's the without revealing a lot of secrets, that's the formulation, or that's one of the aspects of the formulation.
Very nice, very nice. So so I like this. I like the 5-day prolong as well, to do, at the very minimum, right, once or twice a year for people. Look at it like, a lot of people say, I want to do a cleanse or I need a detox, but I don't really know what to do, right? I mean, I feel like this is a very a really good way to do that. I'm going to definitely try it out myself. I'm looking forward to that. And then the fast bar, I think, is great as well for having a little bit of something, especially if you like to work out in the mornings. For me, at least, it's helpful. Some people say it's great to work out on an empty stomach, and they can do it. I think each body's different,
Yes.
So.
No, I agree. Each body is different, but if you want the common perspective we're taking here is we recommend people do water fasting for 12 hours, the circadian fasting. If you want to go longer, because that's part of nature, the natural way we fasted. And if you we study centenarians, people living 100 and beyond, in person, actually. Our founder, Professor Walter Longo, who's the head of the Longevity Institute at USC, he personally tracks many centenarians, and he looks at what they eat, what they do, so that we learn that and we bring it to your audience and to everyone.
Yeah, and
The
Walter Longo was essentially he's kind of known as the sort of the godfather of fasting, the person
yeah
who really introduced it, and now it's huge these days. I think people forgot where it came from, but he's kind of the originator, right?
yeah, I mean he was the first to put randomized clinical trials behind fasting, and I think now there's over on fasting and the fasting mimicking diet, there's over 20 big scientific articles talking about the impact of fasting mimicking diet on longevity. Actually, Prolon is the only nutrition product in history to have a patent fully issued on promoting longevity. And he's done a lot of therapeutic fasting, also research on the fasting mimicking nutrition, what it does if you're a patient with diabetes or if you have other health conditions. And we're still doing the research to see if we can help those patients. But yet, when Walter tracked the centenarians, one of the commonality that he sees is that they practice the circadian fasting without knowing it, meaning they eat around 6, 7 p.m. They go to sleep a couple of hours after that, maybe a little bit of walk or a little bit of, but they don't snack at night. That's a big secret. I mean, if there's one thing people should, want them to go out with here today is not just the fasting or fasting mimicking diet, but don't snack late at night. That's the worst thing you can do. It spikes insulin, fat absorption, and then and that's a pro-aging, not anti-aging, setting, and you gain fat. But the centenarians practice this almost you follow day and night cycles. And by the way, the Nobel Prize in Medicine for 2017 was on the biological clock of the organs. So 2016 was on autophagy, 2017 was the biological clock. So every organ actually has its own clock that, they need to wake up and sleep as we do. And by not eating at night, you're aligning your organ's circadian rhythm with your diet and with your sleep. And this is where we see optimal performance and optimal longevity. And so we are definitely for this 12 to 13 to max 14 hours of fast. Now, we believe that if you want to go longer, it comes at a price. If you want to go 16 hours of fast, you're doing that to lose weight, but you're also starving potentially your essential organs. So do it with a fast bar. If you want to go for a full day of fast, we definitely recommend you do the reset or any type of, the body is not made to, this is why you have a headache. I mean, what is a headache? Is your body telling you, I'm suffering? Is your brain telling you, I'm suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where you want to do fasting with food, is when you prolong your fast beyond the 12 or 14 hours. And this is why we exist as a company. And by the way, I don't want to be pushy today, but just to let everyone know, we're coming out of a scientific background, and our founder, Professor Walter Longo, pre-donated all his shares in the company to charities, and namely the Create Cures Foundation. So we're a big social impact company and a big science company, and this is why kind of a little bit the science and the pride and the push towards doing what we feel or our science have proven to be healthy for longevity for consumers.
Yeah, I really like that. And also I found it interesting because I remember actually not too long ago, I think I heard Walter Longo speak, and I heard him say something, because everyone's talking about 16-hour, 18-hour fast. And I heard him say something like, well, if we're talking about the research and the data, 12 hours, yes, you should be doing 12 hours essentially every day, which, again, you eat at 7 p.m., you don't eat again until 7 a.m. Very natural kind of cycle, which eliminates the snacking at night. But he said, in terms of the research, doing sort of 16, 18, and I think it really depends, because I hear some people, and it's actually tends to be people who are a little bit more, I don't know if mesomorph is the right word, but maybe a little bit more heavier or muscular, and someone like me who maybe tends to be a little more ectomorph, kind of like skinnier. I have kind of a harder time doing more of 16, 18, especially if I'm going to the gym. So it really resonated with me, because it's like, yeah, something when I try to do a 16, 18 hour, like I feel like it's hard and I'm starving myself, and it's like I'm not really happy when I'm doing it. So I actually don't do it very often. And I usually, will do something. If I'm going to the gym, we'll do, some sort of, kind of like keto bar with collagen or something with my coffee, and just that little bit of fat and things of that nature, which is obviously not as ideal as this, your bar, which you guys have studied. Just that little bit really makes a huge difference for me. And then I don't get hungry then sometimes till 2 p.m., 3 p.m. if I just have just this little bit of fat, this little bit of nutrition that my body seems to be craving for.
Yeah, and again, this is where the science comes. If you get just fat in the morning, I mean, a lot of people try to sell you ketone bodies and but how about the heart is not going to use ketones to pump. Your brain will feel better because your brain would love to use the ketones. The brain, for our audience, is a fat organ. It's a good fat organ, but it's a fat organ and loves ketones, love the derivatives of fat. You cut fat, and it goes into into ketone bodies and nourishes the brain. Now the problem is,
real quick, this is why the old low fat diet was such a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
From 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Eliminate fat, take it all out, make skim milk, don't drink skim, well, first of all, probably don't drink milk at all, but if you do drink whole milk, right? Not the skim milk. And so many people still have this old mentality ingrained about fat is bad, fat makes you gain fat is, it's like, hey, your brain
well, it depends on which fat. Yeah,
right, sure. It certainly depends on which
the healthy fat. Yeah, the healthy fat is the brain like mid-chain fatty acid fat, but also it's wrong to only do fat in the morning. You're exactly what you're criticizing is the same thing you're repeating here, because how about the heart that doesn't consume the fat, needs more of a protein source and a carb source? How about the kidney? And this is why the fast bar balances all this. And we're telling you, yes, you want high fat. The fast bar has the macadamia high healthy fat. If you remember, I described that, but you still need some carbs, you still need some proteins to nourish the other essential organs, and you need them to the exact dose where your cells are not recognizing the nutrients, otherwise you would not be fasting. And this is what took us the years of research to be able to balance that while nourishing you, not starving you.
Very good.
And that has been critical. And you're right, different people are different. Some people like to go 16 and 18 hours, and why not? But by the way, on the short term, if you want to lose weight fast. But from a longevity perspective, to clarify to our audience, we're not going here against intermittent fasting. We're saying that we are for intermittent fasting, but 12 to 14 hours. If you want to go longer, either you have a short-term reason to lose weight fast, or you have high blood carb, or do it then with a fast bar. And this is why you see the big promoters of 16 hours of fast, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Peter Attia. What's common to all of them? They're doctors. They see patients. They see people who have high blood carb, have metabolic syndrome, are obese, they have diabetes. So they tell them, hey, do your 16, 18 hours. They want them to go a little bit further because there's a short-term reason, although they're suffering a little bit on headaches and on some of the essential organs, but there's a short-term reason for them to do that. What we're talking about here is that, yes, if you have a short-term reason, do it with nourishment, with a bar, or then do it, if you can do it on water. But on the long term, for longevity, as a daily practice, stick with the 12 to 14 hours. That balances better your body to what your body was it has evolved to adopt.
Yeah, I think it's more of a long-term sustainable, at least for me, me personally. So I really like that. Any other benefits of fasting or fasting mimicking before we wrap up? Just wanted to kind of see, like, you guys have done a lot of studies, a lot of money spent studying all this stuff. For someone who may be thinking like, oh, is this really that important? Or can't I just, do low calorie or keto or something else? Yeah. What are some things you've learned in your studies?
I mean, the biggest lesson is all diets can work by only two or three mechanisms. It's either lower calories and therefore you lose the weight, or it's better ingredients to eat healthier, and or by specific involvement like the keto with the high fat for potentially diabetes on the short term, potentially neurological indication. But they're all separate from the fasting and the fasting mimicking diet, where you're eating, yes, healthy ingredients, you're, yes, losing weight, it's a low calorie, but this autophagy and rejuvenation factor is key there. And this is why the fasting mimic nutrition in the trials you're mentioning and all the science, we have all the science behind it because we try to test it on patients with certain health condition, trying to see if we help them lose weight super fast. If you want to lose the fastest weight, you do fasting, right? That's the so with the fasting mimicking nutrition, with the fasting mimicking diet, you lose weight super fast, and it's great for metabolic health and people with metabolic syndrome or people with diabetes, etc., that you can help them with. And this is what we're trialing and studying and seeing the benefits now. But also there's a cellular rejuvenation, which we try to see if patients have health conditions like cancer, like autoimmune, can you help them on a cellular level? And we have a couple of landmark articles that we publish when you starve cancer with the fasting mimicking nutrition before chemotherapy or before hormone therapy, to try to, because cancer needs a lot of calories. It's an organ that likes to grow fast and go everywhere. And instead of nourishing cancer, you starve it. It goes into a very difficult situation from a nutrients perspective. And then chemo or hormone therapy or immune therapy comes on day 4 and 5, and it's hitting a weakened cancer. It's hitting a cancer not in a growth mode, but actually in an autophagy, in a starvation mode. And in mice, we've seen tremendous benefits. We just finished 4 articles, actually 4 trials on cancer, breast, ovarian, colorectal, and a mix of 18 cancers together. And the goal of the fasting mimicking nutrition was to create that environment in the body where you're starving rather than nourishing cancer. You want to weaken cancer before chemo and immune therapy rather than feed cancer before that.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that'll be great. Very exciting to see how you guys progress with those studies. Very exciting.
Yeah. So this notion of this new discipline of therapeutic fasting is going to come to the market. I expect the next 5 to 10 years. Every physician or dietitian are going to have pills or surgeries to work with, but also nutrition as medicine and or therapeutic fasting that they can use for certain health conditions. And we're trying to lead the wave in identifying scientifically how we can help them do an optimal or create an optimal nutrition environment within the clinics with the fasting women nutrition for their patient with certain health conditions.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, Dr. Antoun, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. The research that you guys are doing. It's very rare to find companies that spend so much money on research and development to really prove it. I really like it. I'm going to definitely try the prolonged 5-day fasting mimicking diet myself. Also the fast bar I like. I'm going to actually pick up some more of those because I only had that one sample and I haven't. It came in a bag when I had a bunch of other things and I forgot to buy another one. So, but yes, I can attest to the fact that it tasted great and had great ingredients. And so, yeah, really, really excited. So where do people, if people want to buy the products, learn more, where can they do that?
For the products, prolonfast.com, PROLON, prolonfast.com, and for the fastbar, fastbar.com. And if they want to read about the science, which I strongly encourage, you can go to L-Nutra, our website, l-nutra.com. And there's a section on science, and all our papers and publications are there. If you're curious about learning how the fasting mimicking diet work and what are the benefits, you can find those there.
Great. Excellent. Well, yeah, thank you so much for having us and sharing your wisdom with us. This was very informative, and look forward to trying out your products. And yeah, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Taylor. Have a good one.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. And just a reminder, if you haven't yet tried any of our Peak Performance products, you get 20% off your first order. We have one of the largest selection of USDA certified organic superfood powders, as well as very high quality supplements. And you get 20% off your first order at buypeakperformance.com. That's www.buypeakperformance.com.